Fiona says, I'm sure this is going to be a good one. Fiona says, is there any way to change someone's values? Like if they are pro-vax and I am anti? Or do you think it's best to just stick to values that are very similar? It feels like opposites do attract more. Opposites do, right? Because of what we were talking about earlier with the emotional need of excitement or passion or whatever you want to call it. It's that emotional need that's what creates that chemistry. That's what creates that like, oh, this person's so interesting and different, right? You don't understand them, you don't get them, there's something new about them. And so you get excited about that, right? There's something different than what you're expecting. You're like, oh, I'm anti-vax, and he's like, well, I'm pro-vax, right? And all of a sudden there's like this weird tension there, right? But it's kind of exciting still. And so it's one of those things where, especially an important thing, is it possible to change? Absolutely. Right. For something like this, though, especially when we're in this society right now where people are, um, people are polarizing each other. The media is polarizing us. Outlets are polarizing us. The media out there, doesn't matter if you're looking at right wing, left wing, any of those kinds of things. They are radicalizing people right now, and it's people are becoming more and more polarized, and it's purposeful. The whole thing's purposeful. It's designed. And is there a way to connect with him? Yeah. Is there a way to change his views? Possibly, depending on how attached he is to it, right? A lot of these people aren't really as attached to pro or anti-vax as they may seem like it, right? They're just taking on this position because they've kind of been thrown into these different categories. And a lot of people that are pro-vax are people that just want people to be safe. They just want to feel safe and secure. They want people around them to do what's good for society, and they're coming from a good standpoint. And it's the same with people that are anti-vax. If you're anti-vax, it might not be that you're totally anti-vax, right? It might be that you just have some questions about things that are going on. It might be, we're like totally getting into politics here. It might be that you have some concerns about a specific vaccine. And so it's not that things are things aren't usually as black and white as we're kind of putting them into. And one of the things that you want to stop doing is stop labeling. You want to stop labeling him as being pro-vax, because when you kind of throw on that label and put on that identity, people live into those things. And so the more that he lives into the pro-vax identity and you live into the anti-vax identity, the more that you're going to identify and agree with and start having viewpoints in alignment with those perspectives. And if you want to connect with somebody, regardless of their viewpoints on it, you want to see from their viewpoint, and you want to try to understand them. You want to be curious. You want to ask them questions. You want to feel like you get where they're coming from. And when they feel, not you, but they feel like you get them and where they're coming from, they're going to be far more open to hearing other points of view and potentially even changing them or agreeing with them and seeing your point of view, and then saying, maybe you have some valid concerns there. And then, if you really want to, if you really, we're not going to go into the scope of how to change someone's opinions. Can you do it? Absolutely. Can you change their entire worldview? Absolutely, you can. Depending on how attached they are to it, depends on how willing they are to do it. And the less attached they are to it, the easier it is. The more attached to it they are, the more difficult it is, and the more things that you need in play in order to do it. And my suggestion is that instead of doing those things, is that you work on connecting and bonding with them and showing them that you're on their side, and that you can see their point of view, and that you love them, and that you think that they have legitimate concerns, right? That's the better way of doing things, and that's the easier way of doing things. And if you want to sway their opinion in some way, start with that. Start with getting them. Start with making them feel like you're on their side, like they, like you're with them, like you see them, that you see them as a person, like they're validated, and that what they think is important. So does that make sense, Fiona? I don't want to get too, I don't want to jump down that rabbit hole too far. Although maybe I already have. Maybe I already have.